In this series, we'll delve into the hidden power structures that shape our modern world. We'll uncover the intricate web of influence that connects monarchies, intelligence agencies, financial institutions, and clandestine organizations. This system, often referred to as the Cabal, operates through legal loopholes, secret agreements, and the unassailable authority of hereditary rulers. Despite appearances, these rulers continue to wield immense power over global affairs. The modern world is built upon layers of secrecy, power structures hidden behind the illusion of democracy and national sovereignty. Beneath the surface of political theater, an intricate web of influence connects monarchies, intelligence agencies, financial institutions, and clandestine organizations in a system designed to perpetuate control over nations and their citizens. This system, often referred to as the Cabal, operates through legal loopholes, secret agreements, and the unassailable authority of hereditary rulers who, despite appearances to the contrary, continue to wield immense power over global affairs. The British monarchy, far from being a symbolic relic of the past, remains at the center of this vast imperial network, directing intelligence operations, controlling militaries, and maintaining an economic and political hegemony that extends over billions of people worldwide. The institution of the monarchy serves as the backbone of the deep state. Contrary to popular belief, the British royal family and their European relatives are not mere figureheads. They are legally immune rulers with unchecked authority over intelligence and military structures. Through sovereign immunity, they remain above prosecution, ensuring that their role in geopolitical manipulations remains unchallenged. They retain the power to sign laws into effect, select political leaders, and even dissolve entire governments. In countries such as Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, the British monarch is the legal commander-in-chief of the military and intelligence agencies, reinforcing their dominion over these supposedly independent nations. This influence extends well beyond the Commonwealth, with European royals, many of whom are directly related to the British king, working in concert to maintain a centuries-old system of aristocratic control. The impact of this unseen monarchy is felt most acutely through the intelligence agencies they control. British intelligence, particularly MI6, has served as the world's most formidable covert operations force for centuries. It has been instrumental in assassinations, election rigging, media control, and economic sabotage. During World War II, MI6 expanded its reach by forming the Office of Strategic Services, which later evolved into the CIA. This partnership allowed British intelligence to embed itself within American power structures, using the United States as a proxy for imperial ambitions while keeping its own hands clean. MI6 continues to exert control over the CIA, FBI, and NSA through liaison agreements that allow them to operate freely on American soil, engaging in surveillance, counterintelligence, and political subversion without oversight. The so-called Five Eyes intelligence alliance between the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand provides yet another avenue for unrestricted spying, allowing these nations to bypass domestic restrictions on surveillance by outsourcing their activities to allied agencies. A key component of the Cabal's operations is the use of financial institutions to exert control over global economies. The City of London, an independent city-state separate from the rest of the UK, operates as the financial capital of the world, with laws and governing structures that exist outside normal democratic processes. It houses the Bank of England and the Bar, which oversees the licensing of attorneys across the Western world. Through these institutions, the monarchy exerts control over legal and financial systems in a manner that is largely invisible to the public. The Bank for International Settlements, which functions as the central bank for central banks, allows for economic manipulation on a global scale. Institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund provide the illusion of economic aid while actually functioning as predatory lenders, trapping nations in cycles of debt that strip them of sovereignty and force them into compliance with Western financial interests. Beyond finance, the Cabal's control extends into the realm of psychological warfare and behavioral manipulation. Programs such as MK-Ultra, initially a covert CIA experiment in mind control, have never truly ended. Though publicly discredited in the 1970s, these techniques have since been refined and rebranded under terms such as information operations, behavior modification, and psychological warfare. Governments now deploy a range of tools to control public perception, from flickering light pulses that induce emotional states to inaudible sound frequencies capable of disrupting cognitive functions. The manipulation of electromagnetic fields, microwaves, and subliminal media has allowed intelligence agencies to shape behavior on an unprecedented scale. Social media platforms, controlled by big tech in collaboration with intelligence agencies, serve as vast data collection networks, mapping out individual psychologies and enabling hyper-targeted propaganda. This control over the digital landscape allows the Cabal to influence not only individual behavior, but also entire social movements, instigating protests, coups, and even wars at will. The control exerted through these psychological operations is not limited to information warfare. It extends to physical coercion and elimination. The CIA and FBI have long utilized clandestine programs to neutralize dissent, targeting individuals they deem counterintelligence threats. The FBI's COINTELPRO, which once targeted civil rights leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, continues to this day under different names. Electronic harassment, gang stalking, illegal wiretaps, and the spreading of false rumors are all tools used to discredit and dismantle opposition. High-profile figures who pose a threat to the Cabal's agenda, from John F. Kennedy to Robert F. Kennedy, have been eliminated through carefully orchestrated operations that remain classified to this day. The legal loopholes created through agreements with the monarchy ensure that these assassinations can remain permanently hidden under national security secrecy laws. At the heart of this vast network of control lies the use of organized crime as a tool for carrying out black operations. Intelligence agencies have long relied on criminal enterprises to finance their activities, from drug trafficking to human smuggling. The heroin epidemic, which has devastated communities for decades, traces its origins back to the covert operations of intelligence agencies seeking to fund off-the-books activities. From the opium wars waged by the British Empire to the CIA's role in the Vietnam-era heroin trade and the Afghanistan opium boom following the U.S. invasion, the same pattern emerges repeatedly. Drug trafficking serves as both a source of illicit revenue and a means of social control. Similarly, human trafficking has become an integral part of intelligence operations, with blackmail networks like Jeffrey Epstein's Island providing leverage over political and corporate elites. The widespread use of child exploitation as a means of control ensures that those in positions of power remain compromised and obedient to the Cabal's agenda. The interplay between intelligence agencies, organized crime, and global finance ultimately serves one primary goal: the perpetual expansion of empire. War is a primary tool in this endeavor, with intelligence agencies manufacturing conflicts through false flag operations, regime change efforts, and military interventions. The pattern is clear in events such as the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which provided the pretext for the Vietnam War, the fabricated intelligence about weapons of mass destruction that justified the Iraq invasion, and the staged chemical attacks in Syria used to prolong Western intervention. The Ukraine conflict serves as a contemporary example of this strategy. The CIA and MI6 instigated regime change in Ukraine in 2014, installing a puppet government aligned with Western interests. When Russia responded to this provocation, the United States and NATO escalated tensions, pushing Ukraine into an unwinnable war while using it as a proxy battleground against Russia. The destruction of critical infrastructure, including the Nord Stream pipeline, further demonstrates the lengths to which intelligence agencies will go to maintain geopolitical dominance. This unholy alliance of monarchy intelligence agencies, financial institutions, and corporate oligarchs operates under the guise of democracy while ensuring that real power remains firmly in the hands of an unelected elite. Their methods are not new, they are merely modern iterations of imperial tactics refined over centuries. The British Empire never truly ended. It evolved, embedding itself within the institutions of its former colonies and exerting control through indirect rule. The Cabal does not require open dictatorship to maintain power. It operates through deception, coercion, and psychological manipulation. The illusion of free elections, economic independence, and national sovereignty serves to keep the public placated while the real levers of power remain firmly in the hands of the few. The reality of this system is not one that can be easily challenged. The institutions that protect and perpetuate it, intelligence agencies, financial systems, legal frameworks, are designed to ensure its survival. Attempts to expose or dismantle it are met with fierce resistance, whether through character assassination, imprisonment, or outright elimination. The mechanisms of control are so deeply embedded that they are often invisible to those who live under them. However, understanding the nature of this system is the first step in recognizing its existence. Only by peeling back the layers of deception can individuals begin to comprehend the true nature of the world they inhabit. The machinery of global control, as outlined in the hidden networks of intelligence agencies, financial institutions, and hereditary monarchies, is not a static entity. It evolves, adapts, and refines its methods to maintain dominance. The same tactics that once allowed empires to rule through direct colonization are now deployed through more insidious means: economic enslavement, psychological warfare, and the manipulation of democracy itself. The illusion of choice is carefully preserved in modern governance, but the true levers of power remain in the hands of an unelected elite, operating from the shadows through legal loopholes, intelligence operations, and deep state influence. One of the most effective tools at their disposal is the systematic use of fear and division. Psychological warfare, once reserved for military conflicts, has been turned inward, targeting domestic populations to ensure compliance. Governments, in collaboration with intelligence agencies and corporate media, manufacture crises to justify expanded surveillance, stricter laws, and a continuous erosion of individual freedoms. The pattern is clear: threats, real or fabricated, are used to rally the public around the need for greater government control. Whether through terrorism, pandemics, economic collapse, or foreign adversaries, the ruling class ensures that the population remains in a perpetual state of fear, unable to see the true source of their oppression. This control is reinforced by the manipulation of history itself. The victors write history, and intelligence agencies work diligently to shape narratives that obscure their crimes. From the suppression of declassified documents to the control of educational institutions, history is sanitized, distorted, or outright fabricated to ensure that the public never fully understands how power truly operates. The heroes of the past are reduced to simplistic caricatures, their struggles co-opted to serve the interests of those they once opposed. The assassinations of political figures such as John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., and Malcolm X are rewritten as the work of lone actors rather than carefully orchestrated intelligence operations. Wars, overthrows, and economic collapses are framed as unfortunate necessities rather than deliberate acts of sabotage. The more people believe in the official version of events, the less likely they are to question the forces controlling their lives. Beyond shaping perception, the ruling elite also controls behavior at an increasingly sophisticated level. The technological advancements of the past few decades have provided intelligence agencies with tools of social manipulation that previous generations could only dream of. Mass data collection, facilitated by the collaboration of big tech and intelligence agencies, has allowed for the precise mapping of human psychology. Every interaction, search query, and personal preference is logged, analyzed, and weaponized. Algorithms control what information is seen, what is suppressed, and what ideas are subtly implanted into the public consciousness. This extends beyond mere censorship. It is full-spectrum psychological warfare, designed to ensure that people never arrive at conclusions that threaten the power structure. Social media, far from being a tool of liberation, has become the most efficient mechanism of social control ever created. What began as a means of communication has transformed into an all-encompassing surveillance system, where behavior is shaped through curated content, digital echo chambers, and algorithmically reinforced tribalism. The public is divided into warring factions, manipulated into hating one another while their true oppressors remain hidden. These platforms are not neutral. They serve as extensions of intelligence operations, guiding public sentiment, amplifying propaganda, and silencing dissent. The mass adoption of smartphones and digital tracking has ensured that no one is truly free from surveillance. Even thoughts and inclinations can now be predicted and, when necessary, redirected before they become threats to the system. For those who resist this control, more direct methods are employed. The long history of intelligence agencies using blackmail, infiltration, and psychological warfare against their perceived enemies has been well documented. Whether through economic sabotage, digital harassment, or outright assassination, opposition is neutralized before it can grow into a meaningful challenge. Whistleblowers, investigative journalists, and political outsiders are systematically targeted, discredited, and, when necessary, eliminated. The machinery of control is designed to protect itself, ensuring that no serious threats to its existence emerge. One of the most devastating realities of this system is that the general population is often unwittingly complicit in its own subjugation. Through carefully designed distractions, entertainment, consumerism, and manufactured cultural conflicts, people are kept too preoccupied to recognize the mechanisms of their own enslavement. The most effective form of control is one in which the controlled believe they are free. Modern democracy operates on this principle, providing the illusion of choice while ensuring that all viable political options remain loyal to the existing power structure. The ultimate goal of this vast and intricate network of control is the consolidation of global power. While nation-states still exist in name, they are, in reality, increasingly subject to the dictates of international institutions that serve the interests of the ruling elite. Organizations such as the United Nations, the International Criminal Court, and the World Economic Forum present themselves as neutral arbiters of global governance, but they function as instruments of control, enforcing economic policies, social engineering programs, and legal frameworks that benefit the few at the expense of the many. National sovereignty is eroded under the guise of international cooperation, with policies dictated by unelected bureaucrats whose loyalty lies not with any particular country, but with the globalist agenda. In this framework, war serves as a tool not only for territorial expansion and economic gain, but also for the maintenance of control over the population. Every major war of the past century has been deliberately orchestrated to serve the interests of the ruling elite, whether through direct intervention, proxy conflicts, or economic manipulation. The pattern is unmistakable. Conflicts are instigated, nations are destabilized, and the resulting chaos is exploited for further consolidation of power. The war in Ukraine, like so many before it, follows this template. A manufactured conflict, carefully designed to weaken adversaries, enrich military-industrial interests, and justify expanded surveillance and propaganda efforts at home. As this system advances, the future points toward an increasingly technocratic form of governance. The combination of artificial intelligence, digital identification, and financial centralization is paving the way for a world in which dissent is not merely discouraged, but rendered impossible. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, will allow for complete financial surveillance and control, ensuring that those who oppose the system can be cut off from economic participation. Smart cities, biometric tracking, and AI-driven law enforcement will create an environment in which freedom is an illusion and every action is monitored and regulated. The merger of big tech and big government will complete the transformation of society into a digital prison, where autonomy is no longer a right but a privilege granted only to those who conform. The final question remains, is resistance possible? Understanding the nature of the system is the first step, but breaking free from it requires a level of awareness and action that is exceedingly difficult to achieve. The barriers to meaningful change are immense, as those in power have spent decades perfecting their methods of control. Yet history has shown that no empire is invincible. The greatest weakness of the ruling elite is their reliance on deception and secrecy. Once enough people see through the illusion, the structure begins to crumble. The challenge lies in overcoming the barriers of misinformation, division, and technological control that keep the population pacified. There are no easy solutions to dismantling a system that has embedded itself so deeply within society, but the first step is awareness. The more people understand how power truly operates, the less effective the mechanisms of control become. Recognizing that democracy is largely a facade, that intelligence agencies function as global enforcers of aristocratic rule, and that the financial system is designed to enslave rather than empower, these are the revelations that can break the spell of manufactured consent. The battle for control of information is the battle for freedom itself. And in an age where technology has made propaganda nearly inescapable, the ability to think independently is the most powerful weapon. The path forward is uncertain and the odds are overwhelming, but history has shown that even the most deeply entrenched power structures can fall. The question is not whether the system will collapse, it is whether people will awaken in time to shape what comes next. The battle is not fought with weapons or protests alone, but with knowledge, awareness, and the refusal to accept the lies that have sustained this hidden empire for so long. The first step in escaping control is realizing that it